Welcome to the Lawrence Sufran podcast. I am Lawrence Sufran. I'm glad that you're here with me today. Listen, today I want to talk a little bit about the difference between confidence and ego. So as y'all know, they call me Mr. Masculinity. Yes, I am unapologetically masculine, and I do not apologize when I have to cultivate and express my masculine energy. I know some of you still feel guilty. You feel bad when you got to be that type of guy. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I would suggest you either look at my old content or you register for my course, Restoring Masculinity, where I go into great detail as to what that means. So when it comes to confidence versus ego, sometimes it looks the same, and even for some people, they use them interchangeably. They feel like those who are overly confident are arrogant, right? Or those who are overly confident are exercising their ego. But the truth is, it's really impossible to be overly confident. You're either confident, secure in your confidence, or you're not confident at all, right? When you get into that space of overdoing it, you're not truly confident, but you're egotistical. What's the difference, though? That's what we're going to talk about today. So confidence is rooted in who you are and what you can do. Confidence is rooted in actual evidence, meaning that you have demonstrated, you have expressed, you have proven that you are capable, able to do this at a particular level. So let me give you an example. I am confident as a speaker. When it comes to me having to step in front of people and talk, I know I can do that. There's no doubt in my mind that I'm going to kill it, right? I know that for a fact. Why? Because I've been killing it over and over and over again. I don't just kill it on the stage, but I kill it when it comes to my research. I kill it when it comes to my conversations with other people. I'm consistently in speaker mode. When I open my mouth, pause, there are people that are impacted by what I do. So my confidence level is extremely high. If somebody was to call me arrogant, it's really just them being intimidated by my confidence. Because I'm not arrogant. Because what is arrogance? Arrogance is an inflated version of self. Arrogance is saying, I'm not really who I say I am. Arrogance is trying to prove to myself and other people that I'm that guy. Here's the gem. I hope you catch this. If I have to prove it, I am saying that that's not really me. I'm going to say it again. I'm put it this way. If I have to try, that means that I can't actually do it. I'm still learning how to get it done. And that's where people step into arrogance, where they're not really who they say they are, but they don't want other people to know that. So they put on this facade. It's an emotional response. So confidence is rooted in what I call masculinity because it is based off of just straight demonstration. This is me. Period. I know the level that I'm at. I know where I can get better, and I know where I'm killing it, and my confidence is built around who I am and what I can do. Ego is rooted in feminine energy. Ego is an emotional response where I'm trying to convince everybody else that I'm somebody else. Ego is a mask that we wear to protect ourselves because emotionally we can't handle the criticism of other people. Emotionally, we can't handle being seen. Ego says if they see the real you, you won't be enough. Ego says if they see the real you, you're going to get rejected. Ego says if they see the real you, you disqualify yourself. And so you want to walk around all puffed up and you think people can't see, right? I want you to know this. People can tell when you're being egotistical. We live in a society now where people like to be polite. They don't want to call you out, but they know when you're faking the funk. Like some of you are really good at faking it. But let them watch you long enough, they start to realize that you're not as confident as you're trying to portray, right? It's all an act. It's all demonstration. It's all a performance. That's what makes it ego. And I'm not saying that when you learn how to animate your character that you're being egotistical. That's very different. When you're put in front of other people, when you have a responsibility to serve other people, in a speaking capacity, in a leadership capacity, yeah, there's an energy that you have to embody, right? But that energy should be the masculine energy. What I mean is that masculine energy that is logical, that is critically thinking, that is resolve focused, right? That energy that says we're going to get it done and we're not going to be concerned about how long it takes as long as it gets done. That energy that says I'm prepared to perfect the process because I'm trying to get to the end result. You should be filled with that energy. And it might lead to a certain level of animation, but it won't lead to a level of being unauthentic. Meaning you being animated doesn't mean you compromise your authenticity, right? But ego says, I can't show up as me. So I'm going to look like what they expect me to look like, and I'm going to brag about myself. Egotistical people always got something to say about themselves, right? They're always trying to convince you that they got more money than what they actually have, or they get more attention than they actually get. They inflate everything. Y'all like to use the term imposter syndrome. Ego is steeped in that, where you don't really believe you belong. So how do you increase your confidence, right? I really already told you, but I'm going to break it down for those who probably missed it. To increase your confidence, you first have to know who you are. You have to be comfortable. Comfortable is not even a word I want to use. You have to be steadfast, rooted, like grounded in you. You have to actually know what you are capable of. See, because when you're confident in who you are, you're not going to take on assignments to prove to them that you're somebody, right? You know how people take on more, they say, I bit more than I can chew, right? People do that because their ego gets in the way. Because they feel like I should be able to handle this, or I should be able to handle that, right? That's when the ego, this should word, I should be. No, it's either you can or you can't. Now, I'm not talking about when you get a little nervous, right? It's something new. You've never done it before. You might be a little nervous. I'm going to drop another gem. Here, catch this one. You could be nervous and confident at the same time. There's a part in your brain, that processes nervousness or anxiety, the same part of your brain that processes excitement. And so sometimes you think you're nervous, but you're actually excited about what you're about to do. And no one taught you how to reframe the experience you're having internally. And so when you don't know that this could be excitement, you start to think that maybe I'm not ready. I feel these butterflies, in my stomach. Maybe I shouldn't be in this space. That's when you start to let the ego kick in, right? Because the ego is trying to protect you, but because the ego is so emotional, it doesn't know how to do it. And you find yourself becoming a whole different person, someone that's not you. So when you start to feel that nervousness, consider that you might actually be excited and not nervous. Imagine if you just reframe it in your mind that, wow, I'm about to go speak in front of thousands of people. I'm feeling something in my stomach, but I've practiced my speech over and over again. I've done the research. I know it's solid. There's no reason for me to doubt myself. So maybe this feeling isn't doubt. Maybe it's excitement. Or when you're about to go out with your girl and you feel those butterflies, right? You got yourself nice and sharp. You smelling good. You know you smell good. You know you look good. But now you driving up to the restaurant and you start to feel that little nervousness. It's not nervousness. It's excitement. You're about to finally reveal your true self. And that's exciting. That's truly what we all want. Ego says, she's not going to like me if I show up as me. So let me go put on this outfit. It don't even look good on you, but because the name brand is popular, you decide to throw that on. That's ego. That's ego. You're spending more money on cars and all these other things to try to convince everybody else that you got what you don't have. That's ego. I'm going to hit you with this. You try to go for titles and positions that really you have no business sitting in. But because when they look at you and you're president or you're doctor or whatever, you ascribe for these titles for the accolades of other people. That's ego. And so confidence and ego might look very similar, but they're rooted in different places. See, if you're a confident person, you're still willing to grow. You're not sitting around like you're the know-it-all. You'll take the criticism. If someone gives you a tip on how to be better, you actually appreciate it. You thank them. Why? Because you want to be the best in that field. So you're not going to be embarrassed, right? You're not going to feel like they're attacking you when they're really supporting you with proper criticism. That's true confidence. The egotistical person wants to act like they know it all. I don't need no help. You can't tell me what to do. Look at you. Right? That's all ego. And ego will block your development every single time. Let's have a real conversation when it comes to relationships. When your partner tries to tell you that you kind of shaky over here, if your response is to defend yourself, you're in your ego. Because why would the person who says they love you just attack you? Why would you not, at least in the beginning, assume that their heart is in the right place because they're prepared to do life with you, right? That assumption that they're attacking you is really a presumption and a projection because your ego is rising. So if your partner comes with some criticism and says, hey, babe, you could do this a little better, you're going to sit there and you're going to think about it and say, you know what, I appreciate you for bringing that to my attention. Let me think about that. Let me see what's really going on, and we can have the conversation later. You don't got to break down why you do what you do at that moment. You might have to really think maybe they have a point, right? But then as you think about it, you maybe can come back to them and say, you know what, I think you misunderstand my moves. That's not ego. That's still confidence. Because confidence is logical. Confidence is not emotional in the way that we use it. Confidence is not emotionally driven. Let me put it that way. There's an emotion that comes with confidence, because here's another gem, but some of y'all, if you take my course, you'll get this, but some of you're not going to get this. Femininity always follows masculinity. There is rarely a point where you can be purely masculine without some femininity coming behind. But you're not going to get that if you ain't take my course. So I'm going to move forward. You need to take the course to understand that. So you'll have a feeling when you're confident, but confidence is not rooted in feelings, right? So what does that mean? That means I don't have to be defensive because I'm not being attacked. That means I don't have to respond immediately. I have the space and time to process and really consider what's happening here. That's when you're truly moving in confidence. Is she acting funny? Or maybe there's something happening in her life, in her world, that I don't know about. And why would I assume she's acting funny? Did I do anything for her to act funny? Is it my guilty spirit that's perceiving what she's doing a certain way? Or maybe it's my insecurities having me look at what she's doing a certain way, right? That's the ego trying to say, hey, bro, you good, you straight, when you're really not. So when you recognize your ego, see, now this is in the course. I'll give this to you, but I can't give you everything in the course, right? But I'm going to give this much to you. When you feel your ego rising up, don't suppress it. Don't suppress it. Embrace it. What I mean, say thank you. Because your ego isn't trying to work against you. Whenever your ego is rising up, it is revealing to you that this is an internal wound that you've been neglecting. This is an area in your life, in your inner life, that you have to deal with. That is such a beautiful thing, that we're designed to reveal to ourselves our own issues. So when your ego rises up, some of you have the tendency to say, oh, I'm in my ego, so I'm going to shut down. No, when you shut down, nothing gets done. When you shut down, there's no communication. When you shut down, there's no progression. So the response isn't to shut down, but to embrace, to say, okay, I am having an emotional experience, which lets me know that this is an area I need to work on. And so you want to thank your ego. Now, in the beginning, you might have to literally say, thank you, right? You might have to say it out loud to train yourself, to train your mind and your body, to learn how to embrace it. Say, you know what, thank you. What you don't want to do is allow your ego to inform your next decision. There are so many brothers in jail right now. They're not fools. They're not idiots. They're not even bad people. Their ego started to inform their next decision. Found out homeboy betrayed them, ego kicked in, and now they're in jail. Found out homegirl wasn't being faithful, ego kicked in, and now they're in jail. Found out co-workers was talking about them, ego kicks in, now they're in jail. Somebody cuts them off in traffic, that road rage, that's ego. And if it informs your next decision, you might find yourself in jail, right? And so what happens is when you get that emotionally stimulated to the point that your ego informs your next decision, your logic becomes cloudy. Have you ever done something? You ever did an outburst? And after you did it, and you huffed and puffed, and you walked around, and then the emotions subsided, and you realize, dang, I ain't even had to do all that. If I had just breezed through it, man, if I had just walked away, now you have all these logical solutions because the emotions calm down. So when you feel your ego rising up, instead of suppressing it, breathe, say, okay, I feel the ego. Thank you. All right. I'm insecure in this area. I'm insecure when they talk about my looks, or I'm insecure when they talk about my work ethic, or, I'm insecure when they talk about my vices, huh? Right? When someone says you smoking too much, you drinking too much, you ready to defend yourself. No, the ego is kicking in. And you might need to say, you know what? I think it affects me because I believe I'm doing too much of that too. And I haven't been willing to look at myself in the mirror and say, yeah, bro, you can relax here, right? So thank your ego. What else can you do? You got to get the course. I already gave y'all enough free game. Go get the course, lsmasculinity.com. And if you need some coaching, hit up your boy. Go to www.lawrencedufront.com and book your coaching session. That's all I got for you. Peace. Oh, you know what? I'll say this. When you recognize that somebody else is in their ego, do not match their energy. Ego for ego never works. What happens, so if I break it down in masculine and feminine terms, when feminine energy meets feminine energy, it creates more feminine energy, which means we're only going to escalate the situation. What you want is for feminine energy to hit masculine energy, because masculine energy is an unmovable force. Masculine energy stands fast. So let me now take it from the cryptic language for those who haven't taken my course, so you don't know what I'm saying. So let me use regular terms. When emotion meets logic, right? Emotions has to calm down. Now, I'm not saying to lack compassion and empathy. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying to acknowledge with your own logical brain, this person is in their ego. So let me validate and affirm them so they can get out of their ego. Then we could talk about what we really need to talk about. And this is going to save a lot of relationships, not just romantic, but friendships, business relationships, right? Because when they buck at you, you want to buck back. Like, hey, can't nobody talk to me like that. I ain't no punk. That's all your ego. Because they're the ones having the experience. Why would you give them so much control over you that you join them in their experience? Let them own it. Let them keep it. You recognize, okay, this person's in their ego. You say, you know what, bro? I understand I might have said something that offended you. That wasn't my intent. I apologize. Yeah, you better apologize. You right, bro. That was my bad. Right? It sounds like, oh, you being all humble. You're being strategic because you're trying to get something done. Otherwise, why are you interacting with this person in the first place? If you ain't got no real business interacting with them, then you should have never started interacting. Why did you call them? Why did you show up in their presence? You had something to do. Even if it was just to have a good time. You see their egos getting in the way of the good time. Defuse the situation. That is strategy. That's not soft. Now, if you're actually scared, that's a whole different conversation. But if you know for a fact, if it go there, I'm going to be fine. But there's no reason for it to go there. Your strategy says, I'm gonna take another approach. And I'm going to empathize. I'm going to be compassionate. I'm going to diffuse the situation. And when they're back in their right mind, we can have a conversation about what all of that was about. You do that with your girl. You do that with your friends. You do that with your business partners. You do that with whoever. You don't have to meet. You don't match energy. We don't match energy. We change atmospheres. That's what we do. There's no need to match them, especially if they're not in a space that's productive and effective. To match them is to minimize yourself. And why would you do that? What benefit do you get from that? So think logically, strategically. When I practiced martial arts, I had a teacher who taught me to practice what he called word kung fu. Right? You're at the bar, somebody thinks you're looking at the girl, they ready to buck up, and you find a story to like kind of defuse or deflect the situation so it doesn't have to get physical. That's strategy. I'm talking strategy. And some of you, even as I'm saying this now, your ego is saying, I ain't about to let nobody play in my face. They're not playing in your face. They're having their own experience that has nothing to do with you. I'm not saying don't defend yourself. If it turn up, then I mean, you do what you have to do. I'm saying you don't be the one to turn it up. If they're here, you be so much in control that you can take them from here to here without them even asking for permission. That's what real masculinity looks like.